me Ruby Collins, and I'm eating today. Here we go. Take a look. That is this is salmon, fish. I boiled some sweet potatoes, turnips, cabbage. Can you see that? Fish, sweet potatoes, turnips, cabbage. These days, I really don't know what to eat. And I've been recently diagnosed with breast cancer. I don't know what to eat. I was dealing with my thyroid. And now this. But I did have, I bought some soursop today from the health store. Powder formula. And they say it's like chemotherapy. So I'm going to drink that. I made a smoothie drink out of that with some yeast in it for the thyroid. I'm confused. Sometimes I don't even know what to eat now. It's like I don't know what to buy, what's healthy, what's not, and I really just want to stop. But the little voice in me is saying, Ruby, take your time, go through everything, watch your videos, listen to people's advice, health advice, things that'll help you with, your cancer issue and the thyroid issue and all this other issues and stuff. It's very confusing, and you feel, what's the word? Like you feel like you're not able to, I don't want to say hopeless, but like you're trying, and sure enough, things are happening to you. Why does it happen to healthy people? Healthy people eat healthy, and then we get sick anyway and die. It's crazy. And people who eat garbage live forever. I think that we're just like, people who eat garbage, body is filled with toxins, and so they're already immune to any toxicity or toxins that enter the body, and maybe they're able to fight it off and live. Whereas other people who eat healthy are not used to it, and then once the toxins are invited into the body, it just goes crazy and kills everything off. And that's my theory. But nevertheless, today I'm having, I'm still with and I'm gonna tell you, I have lost I was about 150, now I'm 139. All right, since I've been detoxing, which is back in February, March, April, May, June, July, 5 months, 6 months, I've lost what? How much pounds? Well, whatever that is. You do the math. I was 150, now 139. Look. Check out that body. Yeah, look at my stomach. It's completely flat. I didn't have to wrap my tummy up this summer at all. It's flat. Well, I lost a lot of weight, and it looks good. I'm excited about it, but I'm not excited about having cancer. I'll tell you that right now. And I'm just thinking, I'll probably get even smaller. I don't know. Nevertheless, my lunch, my dinner here is good. I'm leaving in God's hand, and thank you guys. I have to say thank you so much. My Facebook friends, I shared with them about my cancer situation, and they were like, my breast cancer, and they were like, really? It was like being sent a lot of love from cyberspace, like they wrapped their arms around me from cyberspace. So I really want to thank them, and thank you guys here on YouTube for just being supportive and being my friend. Us lonely folks who don't get out much, we don't really have a lot of friends, but I enjoy reading your comments, and I need to get back to your comments right away and reply to them. But I want you to know, if I don't get to that, I read every one of your comments, good or bad. And I appreciate it, because that's the way I communicate. That's amazing. Maybe if I communicate, well, that's how I communicate. I'm thinking if I communicate a little bit more, but I have to talk like this live so that I can use my vocabulary words, because I think it's suffering. I don't know if I'm losing my memory or what, but I'm just like, I can't remember my vocabulary words sometimes. And I talk backwards, and I put words before the other word, and it's really annoying. Anyway, love you all, and let me finish eating this food here. It's getting cold. Cabbage is good for thyroids. I don't have the active thyroid. I've developed thyroid nodules, which is the nodules like cysts. So my body is just so, is it acidic? Acidic. I think that's what it is. When your body no, you want to make your body acidic because cancer cannot thrive in an acidic body. That's what I read. That's what I've learned. So I'm trying my best, but I need to do something because these little bumps and lumps are just like always after me. All right. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye. Oh, did I tell you about my new hair? This is for a customer, and I really like it. You know, it's exciting because my goal is to do one a week. One new wig a week. And, yeah, this is it. Bye-bye. I think my camera flipped upside down.
We know that the doctors, they get mentally to the patient and they discourage them and they give them this death sentence. You have a great story about what they did to your grandmother with that. And you just have such great information. Somebody that's watching right now, if they've recently been diagnosed with cancer or know somebody close to them who has, what advice would you give them?
First of all, they need to ask themselves, what caused my cancer? And then they would say, oh, I don't know what caused my cancer, otherwise I wouldn't have cancer. But yes, you know. If you would be my patient, you sit in front of me, I keep on asking you, what caused your cancer? What do you think could have caused your cancer? What do you think who or what could contribute to the development of your cancer? And that is the main question you have to ask yourself. You will find the answer. If you don't stop asking that question, what caused my cancer? How did I cause my cancer? What did I do? Or what did I experience? Because very often we know that traumatic events 18 to 26 months before the diagnosis of cancer, there was a traumatic event like a divorce, somebody getting in a foreclosure, losing their house, losing their job after 30 years, losing a child through death, things like that. So very often there are extremely traumatic events that led to the original internal statement, I don't want to live like this any longer. So very often cancer is an internal suicide attempt or suicide command, a subconscious suicide command. You need to immediately get Paul Nison's books and start detoxifying your system, and you need to be on a raw food diet until you're 100% healthy. After that, I'm always telling everybody, if you do 70% right, you can do 30% wrong, and you should be fine if you are healthy. But if you are not healthy, you need to do 100% the right thing. And I tell all my patients to get Paul's book about the raw food diet and the daylight diet and these kind of things, because it is a holistic approach. And I don't need to reinvent the wheel. Paul has figured it out, and his information is perfect. And so I just tell all my former patients to get Paul's books and have a diet based on Paul's suggestions.
Well,
So
yes, go ahead.
it's basically detoxification, the good healthy living diet, because our new cells can only be built with the material we give our body to build the new cells. So it needs to be ideal food. Our pH level needs to be at 7.36, slightly alkaline. And we know from Otto Warburg and Max Planck from 1911 and 1936, they got a Nobel Prize in medicine proving cancer cannot exist in an alkaline, oxygen-rich environment. And Paul's diet is the fastest way, and his cleanses, to achieve a pH level of above 7.
Hey everyone, it's me. Why does my nose look twisted? It's me, Ruby Collins, and I just thought that, I want to start journalizing. Well, I'm always vlogging, but I'm going to really just begin vlogging my experiences. Meaning, Right now, first it was a thyroid, and then I was vlogging my detoxing, what I was eating. But now I'm going to start vlogging my day-to-day life as it pertains to my discovery that I have breast cancer. It's even strange to even say breast cancer. If you find abnormal cells in your breast, that means it's cancer, right? And it's in your breast. So that's breast abnormal cells or breast cancer. My journey, this is my vlog on being diagnosed with breast cancer. Doctor said I caught it at a good time. I'm not going to die. I'm going to live. But you know, once you hear the C word, that's just it. You know, nothing else matters. You got cancer. Cancer is cancer. So I'm very, I'm nervous. I'm very nervous. And I was so nervous today that my head was just like pounding. I thought I wasn't talking about it. I thought I wasn't thinking about it, but I actually was thinking about it subconsciously and didn't even realize that I was. And I think, and the funny thing about it, the aspect in which I was thinking about it was that, you know, my kids are not going to have their mom. And I bought me a car yesterday. I figured, you know, let me buy myself a car, because who knows if I'm going to be able to buy a car, you know, 5 months from now, what my condition is going to be like. So I bought me a car. See? It's a nice car. You want to look at the outside? It's secondhand. Used car. It's really cool. Oh, yeah, that. Anyway, so I bought a car yesterday. But I know I was leaving my apartment, and there was a car sitting out saying for sale, 59,000 miles, $3,500, and I talked the guy to 2,800, and I got the vehicle. My mechanic helped me talk him into that. So yeah, so I'm going to be vlogging every day what it feels like to be diagnosed with cancer, and what do you do? What do you think on a day-to-day basis? And today I thought I wasn't thinking about it, but I actually was thinking about it because my head began to hurt, and I didn't realize that my head was hurting. And then I realized I was thinking about the diagnosis. And that's it. Okay, so yeah, I'll have something better to share with you hopefully tomorrow. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Peace. Keep me in your prayers. Love you all. Bye.
$20,000 people die of cancer every day. This translates to 8 million deaths every year, 500,000 of which are Americans. At the beginning of the last century, 1 person out of 20 would get cancer. In the 1940s, it was 1 out of every 16 people. In the 1970s, 1 person out of 10. Today, 1 person out of 3 gets cancer in the course of their life. Over 1 million Americans are diagnosed with a new cancer every year. All these people suddenly plunge into a dark tunnel that will dramatically change their life for many years to come. Faced with an apparently endless chain of medical tests, examinations, second opinions, medications, new tests, surgical operations, support therapies, and follow-up checks, they find themselves at the complete mercy of the disease. While in that tunnel, each patient feeds an immense medical apparatus that employs hundreds of thousands of people and generates millions and millions of dollars for the medical and pharmaceutical industries. From research laboratories to medical schools, from prevention clinics to worldwide drug sales. Today, the cancer medical apparatus is so large and expensive that it needs its patients in order to survive just as much as the patients need the apparatus.
Cancer is a big business, one of the biggest businesses. The typical cancer patient spends at least $50,000 to treat his or her disease. With 1 million new American cancer patients every year, that translates to $50 billion annually spent on cancer treatment in the United States.
But to modern oncology, cancer still remains a mystery. What a century ago were just wooden contraptions, able to lift only a few feet off the ground, today have become sophisticated jets, capable of reaching incredible heights at 3 times the speed of sound. What a century ago was the creaking sound of the telegraph over some rustling wires, today has become a global network of fiber optics, where millions of people exchange information in all possible directions. What a century ago was still a relatively unknown planet, today has been lit by day and night, and it has been explored to the extent that we can visit it in every longitude and latitude from the comfort of our home. The only thing that has not changed in the last 100 years is the apparent incapacity of medical science to understand and conquer a disease like cancer. Why? The official theory maintains that cancer is a problem that originates in the human cell.
Cancer is a group of over 100 diseases characterized by abnormal, uncontrolled cell growth.
Cancer is a sometimes fatal disease caused by the abnormal growth and division of cells. While normal cells have well-defined walls and nuclei, the uncontrolled growth in cancer cells causes the creation of abnormal, unstructured masses of tissue, known as neoplasms or tumors.
Most cancer-related deaths are due to metastasis, malignant cells that penetrate into the circulatory system and establish colonies in other parts of the body.
How and where the migrating cells stop is different for different cancer types. Once the tumor cells are no longer moving, they can begin the process of forming a new tumor by leaving the blood vessel and beginning to reproduce in the new location. If the new environment is suitable, the newly arrived cell will begin to grow and a new tumor will develop.
This official theory, also called molecular theory, is basically the same that was formulated more than 50 years ago.
Cancer begins as a departure from normal cell growth that is harmful and unceasing. If the abnormal cells grow slowly in a limited area, they are called benign tumors. If the cells are spread to other parts of the body, they constitute a malignant tumor, one that is cancerous. Cells of malignant growths break off and travel through the bloodstream to other parts of the body. There, they may start new cancerous growths.
In the last 50 years, the search for the cause of cancer within the human cell has been pushed beyond the limits of anyone's imagination. Today, the most advanced laboratories are working directly on the human genome in order to identify the genes that seem to be responsible, according to some scientists, for the different kinds of cancer. This opens the door to a dreamlike scenario for the pharmaceutical industry. A world where each patient would need its own personal cure, tailored to its own personal needs. 1 million new patients every year. 1 million new cures for each and every one of them.
What we want to do is we want to match the disease with the cure or palliative treatment, whatever it is, by using the genomic tools. And that's really what the whole cancer world is now going to be about for a very long time.
The question of whether we're going to break the cure barrier is not the question about if, it's a question about when.
In the meantime, however, no one has been able to prove that the official theory is the correct one, and that the origin of cancer is in fact of genetic nature.
Major advances are being made in the detection, prevention, and treatment of cancer. But the mechanisms that trigger malignant cell growth are still not completely understood.
In the meantime, statistics seem only to get worse.
We've lost the war on cancer. Since the 1950s, the outlook for most cancer patients has remained the same, a 1 in 3 chance of living for 5 years after diagnosis using conventional therapy, surgery, radiation, chemotherapy, drugs. The fact is that today, 2 out of 3 American cancer patients will be dead before 5 years.
Despite such dismal results, official oncology continues to impose on patients the only 3 therapies that have ever been authorized in the last 100 years: surgery, chemotherapy, and radiotherapy. And 2 of the 3 are actually carcinogenic.
Surgery is the oldest technique and the most successful of the 3. But surgery is useful only when the cancer is localized, a minority of cases. Patients also fear radiation's dangerous side effects. One of these is that radiation can actually cause cancer. The use of radiation remains controversial even in medical circles.
As much as we could work with her, say on a math problem, she was not comprehending it.
It would take a long time to get like a worksheet done.
Parts of Elizabeth's brain weren't there anymore because of the radiation that it had killed that part of the brain. So the part of the brain that was responsible for memory was gone.
Chemotherapy is designed to kill cancer cells throughout the body. It is highly toxic, however, and it also kills healthy cells. Today, chemotherapy is often given in combination with surgery and radiation.
Your typical chemotherapy agent will certainly cause tiredness. There is a risk of sickness, but there are very good anti-sickness drugs these days that can control that. Chemotherapy frequently causes taste change. It can cause a sore mouth. The first side effect that many people ask about, however, is hair loss.
In fact, many chemotherapy drugs are carcinogenic. Their toxicity is so high that all personnel handling them must observe very strict safety rules. Their disposal calls for total destruction and incineration of anything that comes in contact with them. Some of these drugs remain partially toxic even after incineration beyond 1800 degrees Fahrenheit. But there is something new about chemotherapy that's been emerging of late.
Many women who undergo chemotherapy for breast cancer describe unsettling changes to their memory and concentration. Researchers at the University of Michigan Comprehensive Cancer Center say this phenomenon is very real.
Women have complained of cognitive changes that have occurred during the time that they've been treated for breast cancer for a long time now. And the term chemobrain has been coined, and this is used to describe loss of concentration, difficulty remembering things, having difficulty thinking clearly, and not being able to function effectively in normal activities that the person was able to do perfectly well before they had treatment.
Simple little things, I'd have to wait to think of something, and it would be frustrating.
X is red, C is green.
Researchers say the chemotherapy creates memory problems that can last for years.
Children are also beginning to report long-term effects of chemotherapy drugs.
Things like my homework, like, let's say, like math homework. When it's real noisy, I can't focus. And it just makes me feel like my mind's being erased.
But is there any benefit in chemotherapy?
John Cairns of Harvard University published a study in Scientific American. He found that chemotherapy drugs benefit at most 5%, 1 out of 20 of the cancer patients they're given to.
If conventional therapy has such limited results, why isn't the medical profession willing to investigate alternative approaches?
The answer to this question may be found in some historic events that took place almost a century ago, when official medicine finally managed to gain the upper hand on the so-called empirical doctors, who cured patients with herbs and natural remedies.
In the 1800s, society sanctioned both approaches to healing. Patients had a choice of using either doctors, called allopaths, or natural healers, called empirics or homeopaths. The two groups waged a bitter philosophical debate. The allopathic doctors called their approach heroic medicine. They believed the physician must aggressively drive disease from the body. They based their practice on what they considered scientific theory. The allopaths used three main techniques. They bled the body to drain out the bad humors. They gave huge doses of toxic minerals like mercury and lead to displace the original disease. They also used surgery, but it was a brutal procedure before anesthesia and infection control. Few patients were willing to have surgery. Most patients feared allopathic methods altogether. Satirists of the day remarked that with allopathic treatment, the patient died of the cure. Competing with the doctors were the empiric healers. Contrary to the doctors, they believed in stimulating the body's own defenses to heal itself. Instead of poisonous minerals, they used vegetable products and non-toxic substances in small quantities. They especially favored herbs learned from Native American and old European traditions. The empirics said they based their remedies not on theory, but on observation and experience.